So I've been thinking a lot about collaboration the last week, and thinking of my favorite collaborators, like the Beatles or Steve Jobs and Wozniak, and I've come to the conclusion that the greatest thing about collaborators is for the audience, right? It's the audience that's really gets all the benefit. And I just wanted to take a moment, to speak on behalf of the audience of what Alicia and Laura Louise have done. It's incredible, and we are the great beneficiaries of your collaboration. So just please join me one more time. All right, now I'm going to tell you a story about my penis pump. I'm not. You wish. No, I'm not going to tell you about my penis pump. I don't have a penis pump. But I felt weird, telling a story this week with what happened, and talking about our first world problems just seems strange. And you know what I decided to do is I'm going to tell you guys about the number one first world problem of our age. Number one with the bullet. So I'm going to take us all back in time. I can do that. We're going to go back in time to the pre-Jian Ghomeshi scandal era of human history, if you can remember that, in early October 2014. And this story takes place in Toronto, much like the Toronto of today, but less cold. And I'm the star of the story because those are the rules. So this is when I just finished eating dinner with my girlfriend, Natalie. And we had broccoli that had, it's cauliflower that was with halloumi and tahini and pomegranate. And this is first world problem number one. The chef had overcooked it, which, yeah, you feel my pain. So this was not good, and we were audibly upset as we were walking home from that travesty, when first world problem number two befalled us, because God had the chutzpah to rain down upon us, and wait for it, Natalie was wearing suede shoes, which as you know, rain is like kryptonite, right, for suede. So this is first world problem number two. So I decide to take out my phone, call us a cab, even though I live 2 blocks away. And we get in the cab and we go back to my place and we go inside. I paid the cabbie first. And that's when the greatest, now I'm at the part of the story where I'm standing in the greatest first world problem of our generation, in my opinion, which is that I realized that I had left my smartphone in the car. Yes, I think I heard a gasp. This is, in my opinion, the worst thing that can happen. So I take, of course, there's a smartphone nearby. So I take Natalie's phone. I don't know, just to stop for a second, I'm looking out and I can see that some of you have been blessed with youth. So you may not remember the pre-smartphone era. So as let Uncle Josh, who's a grizzled 30-something-year-old, let me tell you, because you may not believe it. But back then, if you wanted to take pictures of your brunch and update it to your followers, you couldn't. There was no way. There wasn't a way. You just had to yell what you were eating and hope they heard. What else? If you were in the middle of a business meeting, you couldn't secretly under the table be looking at 54 pictures of dogs dressed like cats. Or 39 pictures of cats dressed like dogs. Couldn't do it. If you wanted to call your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you had to use your memory to remember the number. It wasn't in your phone. Do you remember memory? This is something that used to exist. There was no Google, no Twitter. Hashtags did not exist. Wasn't a word. And there were no dating apps. So just to try to imagine how people got laid. It was hard. Yeah, no pun intended. Yeah, you had to use charm. Something else that used to exist. So this was the worst thing that could happen. So I took Natalie's phone and I called the taxi place, and I'll name names. It was Diamond Taxi. And I spoke to Chantal, And I explained to Chantal that I'd just been in one of her cabs that had dropped me off. I told her the address and like, can you please call? I need my phone to keep on keeping on. And she said, I'd like to, but we're closed on the weekends in terms of being able to have real time of where our taxis just went. So no. So I think really quickly. And I think, okay, well, I used my credit card. So you can call a credit card place, and that way you can get it. And she goes, I'd like to, but on the weekend, we have our office with all the transactions is closed. And it was Friday. So she hung up. And I realized that I was never going to see my phone again, because I'm sure that 2 days were not going to go by before someone got in the cab and stole it from the back seat. So that's when, and this is when we go back to the 21st century, Apple has this amazing thing called Find Your Phone, which I remember. So I flip open my laptop, and I do find my phone, and sure enough, this little dot on the map that represents my phone is driving up Bathurst. And I'm really excited because I have proof that it still exists. And it seems to be in a car because it's going very quickly, or it's in very good shape iPhone. And I think there's hope, right? And I'm seeing it turn onto Eglinton going east. And then I'm not so excited anymore because I'm like, okay, now I need to get it. So I call back, and I'm all proud, and I say, okay, I have used this service to now see it. I see it driving. It's on the corner of Avenue and Eglinton. Can you please hail that cab? And the person that answered goes, wow, isn't that cool? Isn't technology cool? I'm like, yes, please call. So he calls, and then he says, the number that we have on file is out of service. This happens a lot. So then the best that he could do is he said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to page all the cabs, and hopefully the cab driver will call back and gets my number and hangs up. So I did what I'm hoping most sane people would do. I decided that what we needed was a good old-fashioned car chase. I needed to take the law into my own hands, and I needed to get my phone back. So the problem, not to get too technical, is if I take my laptop out of the Wi-Fi zone, it's going to stop working, right? And I'm not going to see the dot. So I say, Natalie, we need to use your iPhone. Of course, Natalie hadn't put that on her phone, so we go to download it, and Apple, as Apples want to do, says, you need to update your iOS. This will take an hour. So this is not going to work. So we do this MacGyver-esque thing, which is probably a reference to go way over the head of the 20-year-old MacGyver. We're going to take my laptop, and we're going to take her phone, and we're going to tether my laptop to her phone, her data plan, and then we're going to go hunt this bastard down. So we run. And at this point, we're so excited that Natalie's running through the rain like a gazelle, and she doesn't care any more that her shoes are getting destroyed. And we get into the car, and we take off. And she's watching the dot, and we're getting closer and closer to this dot as it's weaving around Toronto. And we're feeling rush of adrenaline. And we get to a light, and we look over, and there's a Menchie's. And Natalie said, it would be amazing if we had Menchie's right now. And then she bolts out of the car, and she's back before the light changes with Menchie's. And it does make a car chase better. They should definitely put that in movies, because it really is like the cherry on top of the sundae of car chasing. So the light changes, we've got our Menchie's, and we take off, and we close the gap, so that we're now where it says my phone should be. And I swear, as we're coming to this dot, like 7 cabs happen to be at this one location, all going different directions, and it's dark, and I can't see. I'm trying to look to see which ones are the diamond cabs, and I have no idea. So they all go by, and then we have to wait like idiots for the thing to refresh, and we see, okay, they're going east. So we do it again, and we're going east, and we close the gap again, and I'm driving like a crazy person, and I'm surprised I didn't kill anyone. But at that moment, in hindsight, all I cared about was my phone and not human life, which is one of the bad things about modern society, I think, or at least about me. So we close the gap again, and then it stops. right on the corner of DuPont and Spadina. It stops moving. We catch up to it, and it's not there. So we just stop, and it stopped, and it's kind of this ghost showdown where we can't see where it is. And then the phone rings, and it's Diamond Taxi, and they said, oh, we reached the guy, but we can't give you his phone number because of security, so he's going to call you. So we wait, and the guy calls, and he says, oh, where are you? So I'm at the corner of Spadina and DuPont. He goes, oh, me too. And I'm still amazed that he didn't find this weird, that I was about a mile and a half away at the exact spot that he was. But he goes, oh, I'll be out in a second. So he gets out of the cab, and I see him come to the corner. He was literally just around the other side of the house on the corner. And I say, do you have my phone? And he says, I don't know. So we walk back to the car, and we look in the back, and I'm happy to report that I've been reunited with my phone, and we're going to live happily ever after in this first world of ours. Thank you.